So when I first moved out of my mom's house and I actually got my first apartment, if I had watched a video like this, it would have saved me so much more money because I thought initially, grocery shopping was just basically going ahead and buying food. But grocery shopping also involves, for example, shopping for like cleaning products, and then basically shopping for everything that's not in the apartment. For example, like all those sauces and condiments and like little like seasoning things, like they don't exist. Okay, so you gotta buy all those things over, and all those things cost a bunch of money. All right, and I remember my first ever grocery shopping time. I went to Costco and I basically bought a bunch of stuff, and I came back and I basically was like, yo, I did not buy enough food for 2 weeks, although I spent my budget for like basically the whole month because everything I bought was so silly and stupid, and I just did not know exactly what I was doing. So here are 5 tips that I wish I knew back then to save me a bunch more money on grocery shopping overall. I mean, you can actually save a lot, all right? So use these techniques to the max, use them to actually even do better than I did. Whatever you want to do, just use it and basically save a bunch of money. Now, the first one, guys, as always, by the way, almost forgot, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell so you're notified. That helps a lot. So you guys know the YouTube algorithm stuff. So I appreciate you guys a ton, all right? Now, by the way, also like the video. Now, the very first thing, guys, is okay. The first time I thought about basically shopping at Costco, I was like, yo, Costco is a spot. You save so much money over there. But in reality, when you are actually a single person, unless you're like a family or like, more than 3 people or so, you really don't need to shop at Costco. Because a lot of times, most things there, although they are in bulk, they do come with a lot basically. And it basically means a lot of those things will go bad. When I actually bought oil and rice and grains and stuff like that, and potatoes, for example, my potatoes would basically grow roots in them. Also, my onions would basically grow like the little like green thing because I basically just bought too much, all right? And my rice would get these little black little bugs inside of them even though I would seal them, all right? And my oil could also go bad. So overall, the only things I would actually buy in bulk when I go to Costco, they started to become, for example, just like pre-packaged rice that I can basically like heat up. By the way, not good. You can just cook your own rice. And also, for example, like pre-packaged mashed potatoes is basically just powder, add water. Also not good for you. And I'm sorry, right? It was some crazy times back then. I just did not want to waste time on cooking. But I also just bought a bunch of chicken breasts and chicken wings and basically just froze it and put it in the freezer. But you also want to be careful because although they are safe for consumption, the actual meat itself could get, for example, ice burns, and that can basically make it like unhealthy for you. So you want to be careful. My point is, don't buy in bulk for the sake of buying in bulk if you're not actually going to use all of it, because eventually it will go bad. So sometimes, although it might cost you just a tiny bit more to buy, for example, individual items over at Walmart, the answer is shop there instead, because at least it won't go bad. And by the way, without even having this on the list, where you shop is where you're going to save the most money, okay? If you try to go to an old organic store, for example, like Whole Foods, you're going to spend a lot more money than average. But there are actually organic items at Walmart, Trader Joe's, and you can actually save a bunch of money. So keep that in mind. You don't have to shop where the fancy things are. So you can just shop somewhere else, organic food, and save a bunch of money also. Now, number 2, guys, is going to be, for example, laundry detergent, dishwasher, like little pods, and also any cleaning products around the house. The good thing is, okay, there are a lot of like homemade ones that actually save you so much more money, and I did not know about them. So for the longest time, I was using, for example, like Tide Pods and all the other products out there that basically say they are the best out there, but in reality just cost you a bunch of money. And it was actually costing me around $2 to wash my clothes per month. And you might say, Tommy, that's not a lot of money. Like, you're exaggerating here. But Tide Pods, they are expensive in a way. When you compare it, for example, I could actually just make for $30 the same price of Tide Pods. I can make an actual concoction to actually give me up to 400 loads, and that's actually amazing. That's like that's like laundry detergent for like a whole year. Even more than a year, okay? So it actually makes a lot more sense. Now, here's the actual recipe that I found on Instagram. Something about the frugal girl, something like that. And here it is right here. Here's the actual recipe. So if you want to copy it, screenshot it right now and actually get it. So overall, you have a bucket You have some naphtha soap, some borax, some washing soda, baking soda, and scent beads to actually give the clothes some actual scent. And that in total costs you $30. You put it all in a bucket, you mix it together, you shake it up, and you basically use it every time you wash your clothes. And that's basically 400 loads for $30, right? So you could actually find all these little tricks and tips and hacks on YouTube and a bunch of different blogs to save you a bunch of money. I know a mom, all right? And she just basically grabs some water, a little bit of scent, and basically like vinegar, and mops her whole house for like pennies, all right? But I was out there literally, okay, going to Costco and buying me, for example, like those little like wet wipes to actually wipe your whole house. They're so expensive, so unnecessary, and so stupid. So these are little things you could actually do to save big money, all right? So just keep those things in mind. Now, the third way to save money is coupons. So if you could actually buy a dollar for 50 cents, why wouldn't you do it? If you're walking on the street and you find yourself a dollar, you'll pick it up. So I know people out there that get embarrassed about using coupons, being in the cash register and being like, hey, I got this coupon, I got that coupon, you got one out there. Just use your coupons, okay? There are apps that allow you to get coupons, and they're just, for example, like little newspapers that actually give you over at Costco or, for example, your local grocery store. And by the way, never forget this, okay? But you have to be smart enough to actually compare prices at different places. Not everything is going to be cheap where you go. All right. So people think that Costco is cheap overall. Costco's not cheap in every single aspect. They also have items that have to sell for more money. So you got to go out there and compare prices, whether it comes to Walmart or whatever it is. Especially, for example, local grocery stores, they're competing and have, for example, a bunch of offers. So you might be using one place to buy cleaning products, another place to actually buy, for example, your meats, one for your vegetables and fruits. It all depends, all right? So just run the math, run the numbers, and make sure it actually makes sense, all right? So having coupons save you a bunch of money. And if you don't believe me, watch a show called Couponholics or something like that. It's on YouTube or like on TLC. And people basically go out there and with coupons, they take a $800 grocery bill and turn it into like $30 to $40, right? So you can actually save a bunch of money. Now, number 4 is buying generic brands over brand made items. Now, I will say that some generic brands, they're just not good. And some generic brands are just basically pretty good. Okay. So for example, I noticed, for example, things like, like commodities like coffee, rice, and things like that. You could just buy, for example, generic brands. You're getting the same product from the same factory usually for like a 25% discount. All right. Cookies like Oreos or whatever. You buy the little one that is called Warriors or whatever, and you save money on those. So there are a lot of items out there you can save money just by buying, for example, the generic brand or the store brand and not going, for example, with the brand, all right? So you might say, Tommy, saving 25% off is not a big deal, so I'd rather just basically buy the item like that I actually like, know, and love. The answer is I don't have a problem with that at all, but what I do recommend you do is basically at least try the generic brand once or twice, because sometimes generic brands could actually be like tastier, they could be better, and also cheaper. Don't believe the hype that just because it's more expensive, more well known, it must be better, because a lot of the times it's not. Or for example, the best cars ever will be Porsches and Ferraris, but those cars don't tend to be that reliable anyways, all right? So keep those things in mind. So, and by the way, big picture stuff, okay? If you're spending, for example, like $10 on coffee, and then you buy, for example, the generic brand for 25% off, it's like 775, right? You might say, Tommy, it's not a big savings, so I don't really care that much. But when you think about it, you're buying $400 per month worth of groceries and you save 25% off. That's $100 a month, all right? So when you times that by 12, that's like $1,200. That's like a whole vacation, right? So that's why I say generic brands, compare prices, and make sure you give things a chance, all right? That's what I recommend. Full. Now, number 5, guys, is going to be lack of meal plan. So overall, I remember the first time I went grocery shopping, the reason I spent so much money was because I didn't have a meal plan. I didn't know exactly what I was going to eat for 1 week, or the other weeks I just basically just bought everything, all right? And a lot of times that doesn't make any sense. I noticed that moms and people that basically are adults for a very long time, they tend to have, for example, like at least in their minds subconsciously, or sometimes like written like physically, like a meal plan. Like they say, like this week I'm gonna make, for example, rice and beans. Maybe 1 week out of that, you know, one day out of that, I'll make like some fish or some meat or whatever. But they have, for example, a meal plan. They know exactly what they're gonna cook for that week or next week. So this way, what they actually buy is what they actually need. I get that we always want variations. We always want to eat different things, try different things. But overall, trust me, that stuff gets tiring where you're having to wash dishes over and over again and you're having to basically cook things differently every day. I hate that. I rather just do, for example, meal plans and eat the same thing every day. But that's just me. I'm a little crazy. But overall, these things right here save you a bunch of money. Buying generic brands, having a meal plan, shopping around, using coupons, and not just assuming that buying in bulk is cheaper if you're going to be wasting things and having your potatoes go bad, all right? So I don't recommend it. Thanks for watching, guys. As always, like, subscribe, hit the bell to get notified, and comment down below exactly where do you tend to shop. All right? Peace. Long Term Team officially out.